Documentaries are about the people that you meet and the stories you can tell. Stories of tragedy, laughter, hope and desperation, across faraway lands or right here in your own backyard. This podcast brings these stories to you, the listener, so that you can experience the adventures of documentary filmmaking in audio form while embarking on daily adventures of your own. Welcome to Barefoot Media's Stories Within Stories podcast with your host, Simon Holland. The immensely talented Mikey Wigele is a seasoned musician and performer at the top of his game, playing bass in over 14 bands at the moment and counting. From Tool to the Tonesmiths, if you're a live music fan, there's a chance that you have seen one of Perth's most talented music mercenaries perform. Welcome to the show, Mikey Wigele.
Hey, Simon, how's it going, dude?
Good. Yeah, so good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We've got a massive connection back in the day, reconnection, 30-something years later, beyond probably.
Yeah, it's like a lot of parallels. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, weird how it happened. So you're a mega musician. I'm going to add a mega to that because you're in 14/15 bands, projects. What the hell? How are you making this work?
That's such a good question. I don't know how I'm making it work. I think I just keep saying yes and then just shuffle the calendar until it fits.
Yeah. And did you always have music in you? Like, because the sort of music you do is completely, we saw you in a Tool cover band, so Arizona Bayswater. No business being as good as you were. Like, holy shit, the first time we saw you at Badlands, me and my sister came, blew us away, absolutely blew us away. And the complexity of that music, it's not easy stuff to learn. How the hell do you do it?
Such a good question. You asked the question about is music in me, and I think it has been very young. My grandpa taught me piano when I was like a young little dude and sort of just went on from there, I guess. But in terms of doing that music, I don't know. It's like on bass anyway. There's something about that I've really enjoyed, that role. And, traditionally I've been that kind of supportive bass player. Do you know what I mean? Like a sort of low tones underlying. Yeah. And then going into Tool for the first time was a real change for me because it's suddenly you're not in the background, you're right there, front and center. I massively underestimated that task, definitely.
Did you? Yeah, because the guys know, the fans, if you're a Tool fan, you pay close attention to bass. That is a big part of that sound. And if you miss something, they're going to know.
Yeah. That's, man, there's a whole journey behind that for me. It has been a process. I didn't use a pick at all until I started doing the Tool band, which was basically 2 years ago.
Yeah. So you've only been going 2 years?
Yeah.
Jesus, that's crazy. Yeah. How did that idea come about?
You know what it was, dude? It was like when I stopped playing music almost completely live for like 15 years because, got a job and had a wife and
life.
Yeah, just life, and also moved to Perth. And I think like most of my music in the past was in Albany. So I had a good group down there and got to Perth and didn't have any contacts and I wasn't really pushing it and just live life a little bit.
Yeah.
But when getting back into it, I just fell into this really luckily with this group of like intensely amazing musicians, like just by chance.
Yeah.
Through a Facebook ad saying, looking for a bass player that does Audio Slave, Chili Peppers, Green Day, all the stuff that I loved. And in that room was the guitarist that's in the Arizona Bayswater band now. And the lead singer in that band is in Renegades of Rock, which is another one which I do heaps with around Perth as well. But the guitarist in that band at the time was like, I want to do something challenging and hard and that no one else is doing. And he picked Tool. And I think he also vastly underestimated what we were going to get ourselves in for.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man, I'm in. Sounds fun. Yeah. And then we got Russ. We found Russ.
Yeah. And
we just did a 3-piece instro jam early on, and it was amazing, like immediately amazing.
Oh, they're one of the greats. They're the Led Zeppelin of this time, right?
Yeah.
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 If you look at it that way.
Absolutely, man.
Bananas. And like 4 powerhouses that somehow came together at a key period in that early mid-late 90s.
Yeah.
That sort of time when it was needed, I think. Yeah, it's bananas. And there's so much when you played Enema just recently at Magnet House.
Yeah.
And there was things that I thought were samples, and then you guys are doing live. Like there's a bit where, who's the guitar? Roz,
yeah.
Where he's picking below the bridge where it goes into the body with verbs and stuff on.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, I thought that was just mechanical samples. And then there's, loudspeakers coming out and
the megaphones and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, you guys just did such a good job of that. Yeah. What did it feel like being on stage for that gig? That was packed house.
There's definitely an element of like a weight on your shoulders because you're attempting something that in its entirety is really special to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And everyone there is like, whoa, are they going to do it or not? And so the first couple of songs, like I think we were all feeling that weight a little. Do you know what I mean? Despite that we were really well practiced and rehearsed and, we'd gone through everything a lot of times. There was a few, like the first few songs, and I think all of us were feeling a little bit of anxiety about the weight of what we were trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And then after that point, it just loosened up and we just felt open and fun almost, despite the fact we're on a tightrope.
And it goes fast, hey. Like, isn't it, you sort of think, man, I got to get through an hour and something of music right here. And then you're just like, when it's finished, you're like, I can't believe it's over. I want more of that. Like, more.
That's exactly what happened for us, particularly at that venue. We had to get out real quick because the DJ had to get on. It felt really quick, despite being almost 2 hours of tour.
It's good that it starts with Stinkfist though, hey? Like, crowd favourite.
And fairly easy to play for a
fairly easy to play, exactly. And that's sort of, once you realise that the people are into it and stuff, that's the key. Yeah, because if you miss like even one little hi-hat in a key spot or something, people were like,
oh yeah. They got the notepads out.
Yeah, that's crazy. I went and saw, so the first time after your Badland show, I went and saw Tool about a week later in America.
Yeah, you sent me the video.
Yeah,
with
so like 70,000 people, and we weren't Tool fans. Do you know what I mean? Because there was like on the bill, it started with, the first night was Guns N' Roses and Iron Maiden.
Wow.
Second one was Judas Priest. It was supposed to be Ozzy Osbourne, but he pulled out. Judas Priest and AC/DC, and then Metallica and Tool.
Yeah.
And Tool were fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like the other guys, they'd finish a song and everyone would instantly cheer.
Yeah.
Tool, they'd finish a song, there'd be like 5 seconds of silence. And I'm talking like 60, 70,000 people, however many were there.
Yeah.
Heaps. And dead silence. And then, whoa, like, because you're just in awe of what you see. And that shit gave me fucking goosebumps. Like, you're just like, man, I don't know, the people need to get around that band and get into it. And if what you're doing is localizing an act that they might never see.
Yeah.
It's rare that they're going to come to Perth. It's rare that people could afford a ticket. They're just so democratized. And that's kind of what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Is that the purpose of doing cover music?
Yeah, I think it is, mate, and particularly in Perth. And, I work a lot with a promoter that does stuff here. For him, he saw COVID as a pretty positive thing for the Perth music scene because what's happened now is a lot of the big acts couldn't come in, but also the sort of tribute acts that would normally come from overseas would come to Perth and put on shows of, say, Offspring or whatever. And it opened up this sudden new market for local musos to cover the music they love and get up there and people actually turn up and have a good night about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a party vibe, isn't it?
Yeah. 100% is. Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't like the word tribute because to me that sort of has negative connotations. To me, it's more of a homage. Do you know what I mean? It's like the people that are playing that music on the stage absolutely love that band as much as everyone in the crowd. So it's kind of like everyone's just having a fat time listening to the music.
Yeah, your singer, what's his name? Des said that really well. He said, we are fans first. Like, we are here because we're fans. You're here because you're fans. Let's play this music and enjoy the hell out of it.
I should mention Des in this because he was a huge factor for us because we didn't find him straight away. We tried a couple of other singers first and then Des just came in and the other singers were good, don't get me wrong. They were doing a great job, better than anyone else I've seen before, but then Des rolled in and he's basically Maynard. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. In the room, we're like, what is this?
He does have that feeling about him.
Man, so intense.
Yeah,
and he brings another level of professionality as well.
Yeah.
Which was beyond, what we'd already had in place. Like we were thinking, we're pretty good at this talk stuff as a three-piece, right? And then he comes in and after the second jam, we've got 4 pages of notes individually about shit we've got to get right. He's picked up on.
But he's figured out, oh man, that's what you want. Accountability, right?
100%. We're going to do it. This is all laid out in front of you.
And also he plays keys and triggers samples and does a whole bunch of stuff there as well.
He's a massive muso in general.
Yeah.
He plays around a lot. But, his level of quality and ability is just nuts, absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
It's raised us up to where we are.
And there's a difference between really good musicians and a frontman on stage for a band. How many people that you've seen come and go that are talented as hell? Like I've seen guys play guitar in their bedroom. I'm just like, what the fuck? But on stage, there's nothing, So
that's the whole skill.
And so him being able to engage the crowd and stuff, like there was a song you skipped. You know, there's like some of the nonsense in that. So they'd be crying. Because we're not going to subject you to that. Like I played 2 seconds and he was like, we're not going to do that. Skip. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I did with that CD. Skip that bit.
It's just horrible, man. When you're a parent, it's like, it's traumatizing.
It's crazy. And you never know what the crowd's going to respond to, which bits they thought was important to them. But there was moments in that album, like 46 and 2, you know, the build up in that thing like that. Oh my God. Goosebumps to that shit.
It's a pretty special album.
So what other tribute acts have you done or homage bands?
Okay, so Offspring, Green Day, Sepultura, Chili Peppers. I said Green Day. Man, they just come in blank now. What am I doing?
Is it all era dependent?
Pretty much, man. So Audio Slave, Silverchair.
Oh man, Silverchair would be fun as hell.
Yeah, we're doing that in Grunge Fest coming up.
Yeah. Frog Stomp?
Yeah, pretty much. We mostly Frog Stomp and Freak, first 2 albums.
Crazy times.
Oh, such good music.
That reminds me of doing homework, like sitting at, you know, because you had the PMFM or whatever top 40 on.
Yeah.
And you used to that and listen to the radio.
Yeah.
And then like, I remember them going, there's some 15-year-olds from Newcastle.
and early Silverchair is so underrated. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And when you hear that guy's voice, like his voice at that
15
age.
And playing guitar. And only guitars. There's nothing to hide, nowhere to hide there.
No. Yeah, he's something else, man. And we really love that music for that aspect alone, let alone the actual music itself.
I was working with a dude on a TV project from another monster band.
Yep.
And we were trying to get some things going together, like Rockstar. It was like a Rockstar cooking show. And the guy was like, I don't think I'm Rockstar enough, because he knew Daniel Johns. And he goes, that is a Rockstar. And I'm like, your band's international, massive international band. And you're going, I pale in comparison into someone like that. Like, that's like a musician's musician, you know?
Yeah.
True talent. Anything, I think, anything Kurt Cobain did, I think we knew about with Daniel Johns. Yeah. So what was it with that era in music for you?
It was kind of like, I think it's just the kind of rock music focus, and it's kind of, it's less about, I mean, there's skill in there, but it's more about the overall tone of the band, do you know what I mean? And what they're portraying at that time. For me, Offspring was the very first, like Smash was the first CD I ever had in my life. And that was like, I just played them on repeat for ages, like years. And that sound, like a distorted guitar with a backing bass with a bit of mids on it, and then just a solid drum beat, and then whatever vocals on top. Yeah. It's kind of the formula for most of those bands. Yeah. It's simple and it's doable for anyone, just about, in a way, but it sounds so good.
Yeah, you just need a Boss Distortion DS1 kind of that and it's set.
So I don't know what it is about that. I think it is that sort of tone that I really enjoy. And I think it's come back around. We were sort of discussing this before.
Yeah. There's coming of age music, you know. A lot of it is about, especially the Offspring concepts, you know, it's about the meaning of life, you know, that song and stuff like, you know, or Gone Away. You know, I've had a few friends unfortunately pass away, and unanimously Gone Away is getting played at the funeral.
Yeah, such good music, man.
Good coming of age shades. And I think if you look at it, we're the last generation to not have the internet. You know, that's pre-smartphone. We're the last generation of children to have that. And so that really conjures up a lot of like freedom and riding your bike places and making cubbies and that kind of thing. What was it like for you growing up in Albany?
Oh, man, Albany is such an awesome place to grow up. I was really lucky to have had that opportunity, I think, as a youngster. But for me, there was a lot of freedom. Albany's a pretty safe town, right?
We're so safe.
So safe.
It's old people.
Yeah. It's old people and young people. That's about it. Nothing in the middle. That's scary. Yeah. We were able just to ride down to the beach and go for a swim and right back when we wanted. And no mobile phones either. You know what I mean?
Kind of when it gets dark. Where did you live?
I lived up on top of the hill in Miramar, like overlooking the beach.
Miramar. What beach were you overlooking?
Is it Seymour Street?
Oh, the mega curve one?
Yeah, next to that. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Did you ever play that Double Dragon that they had there?
Oh, yeah. Of course we did, man.
In the fish and chip shop?
Oh, my God. That's taking me back. Holy shit.
I spent so much money on that damn machine.
Yeah, I sucked at it.
That game was hard.
It was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard.
The first dude with the machine gun, you're like, oh, fuck.
I mean, you're taking me back.
But you're going like 60 cents, 40 cents a go or something like that.
It's pretty good.
I don't know where I got that money from.
Yeah.
Mowing lawns or something as like a 7-year-old.
I've got a feeling that for that particular one, I was more watching over other people's shoulders.
Yeah, that was the thing. You're always watching other kids play shit. NBA Jam, they want like $8 a game or something. Was that $2 a quarter?
That's
like,
right.
Fuck off. I was a kid. I don't get that.
Yeah, Albany was wicked, mate. And, you know, it was a pretty safe place to sort of get into music as well. Like it was just sort of, you know, people were supportive and the pubs were pretty keen just to have youngsters in there playing music. So it was a good time.
Yeah, I was down there not long ago, and there was, I think it's the White Star.
Yeah.
And they've actually still got a stage in and things, and the guy, it was like open mic night. Yeah. So it's a good little scene, but it's about that freedom, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're attaching memories to.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I knew you guys from St. Joe's in
I was year 2. So I left Albany after year 4. So, but I've got a good memory. I think I was just paying attention as a kid. And I remember Wiegels, because teachers loved you guys for some reason. Kurt Wiegel, they loved him. Mrs. Gallimore was always banging on about this legend called Kurt.